I'm Natal Dank from PXO Culture, and today I'm speaking to Zach Todorovic from the Aussie startup Health Engine. And we're going to explore how do you do Agile HR, or what we like to call people experience and operations in a startup culture. Hey Zach, how are you today?
Hey Natal, I'm really good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, very good. So from word go, you have applied an agile mindset and approach to how you've built people experience and operations at Health Engine. Can you talk us through what that looks like, and in particular why you thought that approach was important for where you work?
So the Agile sort of introduction really happened when I joined Health Engine, and actually joined as a marketer and not as part of the people team. But there was a lot that I could see that was different about the organisation and the way that it was running, and there was many things that kind of looked like, which was different to my previous experiences. But it wasn't until I had the chance actually to do the Agile HR accreditation, which you ran, so I've got to give a lot of credit to you on that one, that I really learned what it actually was, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about Agile. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that was a really transformative experience, and I learned a lot about actually what it is and what it isn't. And then being able to bring some of what I learned into the organisation, first through my own practices. At the time I wasn't leading the team, and then really sort of introducing a lot of the rituals and the ways, and really kind of just helping the team learn about it as I did as well.
And you mentioned you brought some of the rituals into the team. Can you just tell us a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so our Kanban board and introducing the Kanban method, that was sort of the first thing I did for myself. I had just found that such a real sort of eye-opening sort of tool in the way that I could sort of structure the way that I worked, having everything so visible and really clearly sort of columned out for prioritization, and sort of just keeping track of where everything's at was super helpful for me personally. And then really kind of broadening that out to the wider team, it was a game changer really for us. Traditionally, the way we've operated is really sort of the team was always in sort of silos. So what I was doing and someone else was doing, we would be able to sort of bring that together, but really couldn't have that visibility of all the sort of big ticket items and the initiatives, and sort of track it in a way that, really empowered us to work on the things that mattered the most and deliver the value to the organisation.
And so you mentioned, just leading into that you didn't come from the world of HR, you came from marketing. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you ended up then being in, people operations, and then now you're even leading the team? So just tell us a little bit about that.
I was kind of lost in sort of those late stages of high school. It's a big decision to make as to sort of what step you want to take for the rest of your life, or so it seemed at the time. And I went into communications. I really enjoyed elements of it, and had done a lot of things in that space. So lots of different disciplines and environments and organizations. But it wasn't until, again, at Health Engine that I got a lot of exposure to the broader organization. And that's what happens in a startup, where you're sort of really fortunate enough to fill the gaps and get exposure and sort of just really learn from everyone that's around you. And an opportunity popped up for me to sort of translate some of my marketing, brand, PR skills, and actually apply them to the people team at the time. And that was really because they were ramping up, and there was a massive employer brand initiative and recruitment marketing initiative, which I was able to lead and work with the team on. And the more I actually immersed myself in it, the more I realized that this was really sort of the right fit for me in terms of marketing, because for me it was really sort of just the same sort of work, but just a different customer, and that's where I had the epiphany really, which is the people that I cared about the most were, I obviously care about customers, external ones and whatnot, but it's the people that I work with. So that was a real eye opener, and that's the customer that I care about the most. Fundamentally, and I say this a lot, fundamentally, it's actually about people. It's about human behavior, and you're just applying it in a different way, but that sort of foundation was really transferable. And I think it actually allowed me to approach it in a different way. And not to say that I don't have lots of gaps, sort of from the traditional stuff that you pick up along the way in I guess the track where you go HR. But I think together with the team that we have, we're able to sort of be a lot more rounded and holistic, which I think is an advantage for us. So,
can you tell me a bit about what's some of your proudest moments or achievements working this way at Health Engine?
Yeah, so I think it would be really hard not to talk about, I guess, how we responded to COVID. And actually, one of the things that mostly stands out was post-COVID, post-lockdown. Obviously, we had a really small amount of time in lockdown here on the West Coast, which we were very fortunate. So we had about a couple of months. But the way we were able to sort of pivot from being in the office and responding to this pandemic and getting our people really set up and comfortable and connected and really just achieving was, I think, as a result of a lot of the practices that we've already sort of established, and a lot of the mindset, sort of how we were able to prioritize that piece of work. So there was the sort of first phase, and there was then bringing everyone back to the office. So we got to come back a little earlier. And what we found through that was our people really enjoyed working from home. They found themselves to be super productive. But what we found as an organisation was that we were not as sort of effective because we weren't able to communicate and collaborate as much. So we really needed to figure out what sort of a way we would work from that point onwards. And we were able to really co-create something with our people. So,
okay, nice.
Yeah. So we did that in a sort of a real sort of I guess a consultative way, and tested and experimented with things, and we've iterated on it as we've even introduced it a couple months ago. So,
okay, great. Can you just tell me a little bit more detail of how sort of the process that you went through to do that?
Yeah, so communication was really important, and obviously putting people at the core of it. So we needed to be, I guess, as upfront with our people as to where the business was at and in what challenges we were looking to solve, but also invite them into the conversation. So there was surveys, in addition to our regular pulse check. So one of the things that I think makes us quite agile as a team is we use a real-time pulse check through one of the systems for employee engagement and surveying. So it allows us to really understand where our people are at and respond based on really what's pressing and what they actually need. And so through that, we were able to find the really, the interesting insights around being productive. And so that was one of the things that became a bit of a core, maintaining the productivity, but ensuring that also, as we were listening to their feedback, that they felt connected and together with their people. So we did that, we did sort of a consultation, and we sort of sketched out or mapped out some possible scenarios, and we tested them with the various people in our organisation. So that's not just the executive team, and that's not just managers, but our people as well. And we sort of fine-tuned it, tested it, and then actually put it into practice relatively quickly so that we could see what would happen, and see what needed to be adjusted and what not. So that was actually pretty smooth and a very simple way of doing that in the organisation, and a relatively effective one too. So.
And so is it a sort of hybrid office result that you've got? And what does that kind of look like? Is it a couple of days in the office, or what's the basics?
It's hybrid. So we have a dedicated day in the office, and that's our Friday, because we know our people enjoy socialising. It's something that's really important to them and to the organisation. So
okay, that's interesting.
Friday's the day, and that was also knowing that Friday can sometimes be a little bit more lax, a little bit more sort of a little bit more fun, and we wanted to maintain that. So that's the day in the office, and we've also made sure that the rest of our company cadence really aligns with that. So we're doing all of our company events, town halls and all hands and those sorts of things on those days, so that we're not having people to kind of shuffle back and forth and really mess with the routine. And so then we also have a dedicated deep work day, and that's a Thursday. And that is no meetings, no interruption day. It's completely free to do the deep work you need. And that has actually been really respected by our executive team and managers as well. So a real success there. And then Monday to Wednesday is really make it work for yourself, your team, and ensure that you're across everything in the business, and we just trust you to work it out.
It's interesting that being in the office is actually on a Friday. So I think people wouldn't necessarily expect that, but I really like that one.
Yeah, well, it works for us. So
yeah, it's great. Excellent. Okay. And so I imagine there's a lot of people listening to your talk today, Zach, and thinking, oh, how do I make a start? And you said you went and did some learning first, and you with me. So, but what's some top tips that you could share with others that are getting excited and want to try and do this in their own team or in their role?
Yeah, I mean, as much learning as you can do really helps. I think really getting an understanding of what Agile is and getting clear on what it's not as well. So I think that, like I said, there's a lot of misconceptions, and getting really clear on those things really helps to sort of shape what you might do next. For us, the Kanban board has been really the sort of foundation and really key to and central to how we work. And from that, we build out a lot. So I think that would be a very easy way for someone to get started with Agile HR. And you can do that yourself or as part of a team. Like I said, I sort of did it myself and then sort of introduced it as I sort of took on leadership of the team. So, and that was a really easy evolution to do as well. And so it works for individuals and for the team and even for the business and sharing that visibility. So that's definitely one that I would say. And then the other rituals, so sort of we've built a bit of a cadence around sort of the Agile practices. So we do a daily huddle instead of a stand-up. It just works a little bit more for us. That I guess the language is a little bit more us, and so we've taken it and sort of made it our own. We have sort of regular check-ins on key, I guess, events and milestones. So we're sort of checking metrics on regular cadences so that we can actually adapt and respond from all the learnings as they sort of come up, but do them in a way that we can actually maintain momentum once we get started, so not too disruptive. So that there's a few things in that, and I can obviously talk about those different practices, but yeah, we have sort of a weekly, fortnightly, monthly cadence, quarterly and annually as well, sort of for those bigger bits and pieces, and things like OKRs, the way we set goals, what feeds into that as well.
Nice, yes. And I think that's the key difference, isn't it, is that we start to move away from what was always this sort of annual, maybe quarterly cadence, and really start to tap into this faster business cycle, which means we're reviewing and continuously improving our work on a much regular basis. And what I also like is this idea of the visualization and the transparency. And I think that's a big shift for HR as well. And that's a great place to start. I often say, start with a personal Kanban and go from there. So I love that top tip. Excellent. Great. Well, thank you so much today, Zach. It's been fantastic to learn more about what Agile HR looks like at the Health Engine. And I just love the hybrid office that you've created, and you did it in a co-creation way where you truly built that with, as you said, consultation and partnership with the business. So it's such a lovely story. Thank you for watching today. And if you liked the video, please subscribe to be notified of the next in the series, where you can learn more about Agile HR and what it means in different organizations and contexts. Thank you.